The American Cotton Shippers Association, also known as AXA, is a trade association primarily made up of cotton merchants, founded in 1924. AXA members manage the majority of the cotton trade, providing merchandising, delivery logistics, and risk management services to their customers. AXA is grateful to Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith of Mississippi for introducing the Buying American Cotton Act of 2025, which will build structural demand for U.S. cotton. Since the bill's introduction, there have been 8 additional senators co-sponsor. AXA urges all cotton industry stakeholders to support this initiative by reaching out to your congressional delegation and requesting their support for this legislation.
All right. Hello out there in the Cotton Belt. It's a chilly hello, I should say, especially here in Memphis. I think we're down in the 30s this week as we pod. And those cold temperatures have swept across the Cotton Belt here in this post-Thanksgiving tryptophan-riddled week as we're all finishing up with the leftovers, I suspect. Now, that signifies a couple of things. Number one, it's time to get on those Christmas gifts. Men, don't be like me and wait until Christmas Eve to get going. Get out there and get something for, Mrs. Claus this week. Use this as your reminder. It also signifies the end of the 2025 growing season. And man, it's been a doozy. USDA has released their final crop progress report update. That was back on November 24. And so we're going to get into that. And we have a excellent interview later in this episode with William Kimbrell of Cotton Incorporated. So we got a lot for you here on this, the 202nd episode of the Cotton Companion podcast. All right, so welcome once again, and let's get right down to it. As I said, the USDA has released its final crop progress report that was done back on November 24. And in summary, the reports through the season reflected a wet spring, a delayed planting across much of the South, and ultimately saw that crop kind of regain its pacing. And it's pretty much been on schedule as the summer wore on. Most places caught up and were tracking with their 5-year averages in terms of how the crop was progressing. So as of November 24, 79% of the nation's cotton crop has been harvested. That's tracking right at the 5-year average for that date of November 24. That 5-year average was 80%. We're sitting on 79. So Louisiana showed that it is especially good at 2 things this week. The first one is stealing football coaches, which we don't love here in the Barnes house. And the second is being very punctual with their cotton crop. It becomes the first state to complete harvest in 2025. So well done to our Louisiana growers. Kick those feet up. Kansas and Arizona remain the only 2 cotton states that are kind of lagging significantly behind their 5-year averages. And that's largely due to significant autumn rainfalls. That's the culprit for both of those states that's kind of delaying getting that crop in. Texas has harvested some 70% of its gargantuan cotton crop. Again, that's as of November 24. We are potting here on December 3. So that was a full week ago, a little bit over a week ago. And that's only moderately behind its 5-year average, which was 74% there in Texas at that time. So hoping that all of you are able to, if you still got some cotton out there, we're hoping that you're able to get this crop out safely and quickly and, get out of the cab of those pickers and get into that duck blind or that deer stand as it may be. On the price front, very quickly here, the market rose very slightly in that week closing November 28th, so that would be last week, although it's still kind of sitting there just below 61 cents at the week end. Not great for us. We heard from John Devine in the last episode of the Cotton Companion podcast, and he told us that it's going to take some larger geopolitical trade deals and an increase in global consumption for cotton to break out of this funk that we've been in. So we got our fingers crossed for those developments. Now, as I mentioned, we do have a wonderful interview with the newish leader of Cotton Incorporated, Mr. William Kimbrell, and we want to bring that to you here in a bit. But first, we'd like to welcome this episode's supporting sponsor, Americot with their next-gen brand cottonseed. Our old pal, Mr. Jared Small from Americot, recently sat down with our cotton grower custom content manager, Hillary Wynn, and they discussed the seed brands offerings and some other things here for the year ahead. So We want to bring you that custom interview right now.
Hi, I'm Hillary Wynn, Custom Content Manager at Meister Media Worldwide, publisher of Cotton Grower Magazine. Joining me today is Jared Small, General Manager for Americot and the Next Gen Cotton brand. Jared has nearly 3 decades of experience spanning farming, ag retail, and seed sales. His journey began on a 5,000-acre rice and soybean farm in Arkansas and evolved through leadership roles in retail and seed supply across the Cotton Belt. Passionate about agriculture and driven by hard work, Jared has built a career focused on serving the American farmer. Jared, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Hillary. I appreciate you having me.
Jared, what makes Americot a unique and attractive company to work for within our industry versus other industry companies?
So if you were to take a look at my resume, you would notice that I'd never worked for any of the big basics, as we like to call them. Not that I haven't had the opportunity, but I took a pass because I never could quite make that authentic connection with their culture and values. And they were also just a bit too corporate for me. You know, there's something incredibly special about working for a mid-sized, privately owned company like Americot, where our people, they're not just a number, and our successes are truly earned. They're not handed to us. There's an unexplainable sense of pride in our culture, our values, and our freedom to operate that just simply doesn't exist in these bigger companies. And in addition to that, I'd like to say, we like to say Americot offers excellent performance through quality products with exceptional people to serve our growers. Our company motto, it says, all we do is cotton all the time. We've attracted and built an all-star lineup of the best and brightest cotton experts around the country to serve the needs and best interests of the American cotton farmer. And it was just under a decade ago when Americot was just a small regional company, mostly concentrated in West Texas. Then we experienced this explosive growth, turning Americot into a national brand and becoming the second largest cottonseed supplier in the U.S. by 2017. And for me and a lot of us out in the industry, that was just a David versus Goliath moment that the whole industry was able to witness.
That really is an incredible growth journey that you all have had. From the perspective of the American cotton grower, why should they choose to plant Americot in the Next Gen brand of cottonseed?
Well, I would say that there's 4 key components that set the Americot experience apart from our competitors. The first, it's our products. Most folks assume Americot primarily sources our genetics from Bayer as a corn stage seed partner. And while we occasionally source genetic material, the vast majority of our pipeline is sourced directly from our own internal breeding program. The second component is our performance. Now, Americot's long-term investment in our breeding program has us positioned to offer growers across the belt some of the highest performing new varieties, unlike anything we've ever seen on the market, both from a yield and fiber quality perspective. The third component, I would say, is our people, which I covered earlier and don't want to go back on and repeat myself. The fourth and final component, it really surrounds our purpose. And I believe this is really what how we separate ourselves. At Americot, we understand, every grower, they deserve the best performing products with the most advanced traits at the best price with top level service and evolving from people they actually like, respect, and trust. Nowadays, this is just the table stakes of our industry. So, but Americot, we represent much more than just another cottonseed brand. There's a reason why we're respected and feared by our competitors apart from these table stakes of the industry. That is because of who we are and what we represent. Unlike our competitors, Americot, we're privately owned by none other than a U.S. cotton farmer, Jenner, and a patriot out of Seminole, Texas. We're headquartered out of Lubbock, Texas. And Americot, we don't answer to a board of directors or shareholders or a company stock price, but instead we answer directly to the needs and best interest of the American cotton farmer. We embrace our true identity and take great pride in being more like our customer base than any other competitor on the market. Americot represents what globalism has been attempting to destroy for many years. And I truly believe we're the last of our kind in the cotton industry. And we fight this battle to preserve the freedom and the independence that represents our very existence. So to all the American cotton farmers listening out there, you are who we are and what we represent. Americot, we exist and stand for you. And we ask that in return, you choose and stand with Americot.
I can hear the passion in your voice about standing with American cotton farmers. That's pretty powerful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're all very passionate about that.
Where can our audience go for more information?
You can find us on our website at www.americot.com. or on multiple social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and others. And truly the best way to connect with us is to just reach out directly to your local sales representative out in the field.
Jared, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with me today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Okay, big major thanks to Jared and to Hillary for that segment, and to Americot for their support of the Cotton Companion podcast. And now, without further ado, I've teased it a couple of times here. We want to bring you that interview with William Kimbrell. He is the president and CEO of Cotton Incorporated. It's a great interview. He touches on all of the myriad things that Cotton Incorporated has their fingers in. They are not hiding from this moment of difficulty that the cotton market finds itself in. They are fighting on a number of different fronts to help our farmers out. So I think that y'all will be quite interested in this interview. It is a little longish. One note I will make, you may hear me in the interview refer to Cotton Incorporated as Cotton Inc. Now, after we got done with this interview, they very gently and graciously let me know that they really prefer to be called Cotton Incorporated. So that was, my fault there. I apologize for that. But just as a note, it's Cotton Incorporated. And man, all the work they do, they deserve to be called the way they prefer to be called. So let's see. We're going to get into that interview with William Kimbrell right now. So, okay, now I am extremely excited to be talking with our guest today. That's Mr. William Kimbrell, the newly, can I still say newly, appointed CEO of Cotton Incorporated. Last December, William took the reins from longtime Cotton Incorporated leader Barry Worsham, and he's had a busy first year in that new role. William is no newcomer to Cotton or to Cotton Incorporated. However, he spent a 20-year career in research and development and marketing there at Cotton Inc. headquarters in Cary, North Carolina, prior to his appointment as CEO. He has extensive marketing experience stemming from some prior work across Asia. And before that, William graduated from NC State. Now, I first met William at an AXA annual meeting auction a while back in Phoenix, Arizona. William may have noticed I was sitting on my hand panel in that particular moment because that was a a pricey one. But man, I did enjoy getting to visit with him that day. So, William, thanks so much for joining us this morning, sir.
Good morning, Beck, and thank you for having me on today. Also, want to thank you and the entire Cotton Grower team for the work that you guys do. Keeping the industry informed and keeping us all connected. And really appreciate the opportunity to join you today and talk about kind of where we stand as an industry and also some of the specific work that we have going on at Cotton Incorporated. So great to be with you.
Yeah, man. Hey, thank you. Thank you for joining us. I know you stay busy, so we're happy to have you. Now, let's see. I did mention it just a second ago. I believe we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of your introduction as CEO over there at Cotton Incorporated. How we feeling about it? Tell me a little bit about some of the important work that you've overseen here in this first year, and maybe any of the major challenges or successes you want to highlight.
Well, you hit the nail on the head there. This has obviously been a year with no shortage of challenges. But here at Cotton Incorporated, we've been productive in looking at ways of taking these head on. And you're right, I am hitting my first year mark just on the other side of it. So been about a year and a month. But as I kind of hit this mark, I'm energized and I'm optimistic about where we're going. Even though the industry obviously is in a very difficult spot right now. When I stepped into the role, I knew Cotton Incorporated had a strong foundation, as you mentioned, all the experience that I've had across the years. But this first year has really kind of helped me underscore and appreciate how much impact our organization can really have over the entire value chain. And when I talk about the value chain, I'm talking from, our from the farm and the work that we're doing from ag research and pulling that all the way through the supply chain and even to the consumer. If I had to categorize the first year, I'd say a lot of the work that I and we have been conducting has really been around alignment and clarity. We've really been working hard to align the organization as we work operationally. We've been really clarifying some of our key priorities that are important industry and pressing industry issue right now, and really setting the foundation for kind of how we're charting things and where we're going next. So as I look at the year, we're taking a harder look at where we can make our greatest impact. That's the biggest thing is where can we drive impact for the producers and importers of cotton products. And we've done a great job of building a refined strategy. And we've built a refined strategies around a lot of those priorities, and we're already putting those into motion. Some of the things that we've already done is worked on some organizational adjustments to make our operations more efficient and ways to make our operations really hit more at the center of the target. We've been putting in some strategic shifts to our priorities. Priorities are constantly shifting, and our market continues to evolve every day. So we have to make sure that we're on target and making sure that we've got our priorities set where we have the opportunity to make the biggest impact. We've also been realigning our budget. We need to be sure that our budget is there to really hit the resources to support kind of those critical priorities. So our approach has really been all about sharpening our focus, streamlining how we operate, and strengthening our voice as we go out there to the industry.
Yeah. Yeah, trust me, we're gonna get into kind of, how Cotton Inc. is adjusting to these kinda unique conditions that we're in this year, but I wanna start first here, in the early going. I wanna talk about you specifically, and I saw that you are a graduate of NC State, like so many, leaders and stakeholders in our cotton industry. I meet so many, well, Wolfpack grads across the industry, really. Can you tell our audience a little bit about your own background in cotton specifically? Where did you cut your teeth, maybe either back home or in your early career?
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm a proud Wolfpacker. As even though it's been a tough football season, still a very proud Wolfpacker. We've got a strong Wolfpack nation. So NC State, that's where I started. That's where I got my textiles undergraduate degree, and then later on, I did receive my master's in business administration. And I'd say I cut my teeth in a lot of different ways. I come from a family of entrepreneurs, so strong work ethic has really been instilled in me very early on. My father actually started a retail furniture chain. I started with one store, built it into 20 stores across North Carolina. So from a young age, I was there working in retail furniture, so somewhat textile related, but I was, in this warehouse unloading containers. I was prepping furniture, loading delivery trucks, and doing whatever odd jobs needed to get done. I will never forget when he, kind of first started me, he sent me down to the basement of the warehouse to clean it out as, kind of the land of misfit furniture and old dilapidated boxes and water damage and things. And it was in bad shape. And I asked him, asked my dad, I said, Dad, why am I the one that has to do this? I was 14, 15 years old, didn't really understand it. And he simply said, you have to learn this business from the ground up. Everyone has to work hard. No one gets preferential treatment. So that was really a good life lesson that kind of stuck with me about, work, humility, importance of people and the jobs that we all have to do. But that really carried me through to NC State, where I was getting my education. Kind of went in knowing that at some point I needed to get an internship and would need to have some kind of a job that would add value and give me some direction. So on my own initiative, I went to kind of a job forum that was led by current students that had internships. And one of the guys on the panel was actually working at Cotton Incorporated. He was one of our interns in the fiber processing lab. So I talked to him afterwards. Fortunately, he was actually getting ready to graduate. So that internship opened up. And he connected me with the good folks at Cotton Incorporated. I came in and interviewed and really started an internship in the year 2000 and worked as an intern for 2.5 years. And again, kind of doing about everything from sweeping floors to changing gears on the machines to overhauling machinery. So it was a really hands-on job. It gave me a great appreciation for textile manufacturing, gave me a great appreciation for the people that worked in the industry. And fast forward, fortunately, after the internship, I rolled into a full-time position in that lab where I was. My first position title was textile engineer, and so I started actually managing research projects. I started to get into some of my international traveling to manufacturers in Asia and also Latin America to help them out with technical service issues. And Worked on the research side for about 7 years. During that time, I was also going back to school during nights and weekends and getting my master's in business. So that was really what helped me bridge the gap and where I was able to move kind of from the research side of the business and get into more of the marketing areas. And I took on, as you mentioned, a lot of roles in marketing over the years. Ultimately, that turned into me overseeing our Asia operations, which was just an extremely great opportunity to learn about, the major manufacturing hubs, about the brands and retailers that had sourcing officers there. So it was really an opportunity for me to, learn a lot of different cultures, develop myself, learn, grow. I was at one point taking 8 trips over there a year, traveling about 100 days. So it really was a lot of great experience that ultimately helped propel me into, this role that I'm in now as president and CEO. So it's been a great career. I've appreciated every opportunity that I've had, and truly have worked my way from the bottom up. And I have enormous respect for kind of everything that goes into it, from the talented workers at Cotton Incorporated to the workers in the textile industry, and of course, utmost respect for the farmers and importers, really the stakeholders of our program.
Yeah. Yeah, boy, you're not lying about that from the ground up thing. That's really neat. You started at Cotton Inc. As an intern. For our listeners, William's mentioning being in there when he first got started and being the one that was, sweeping the floors, or you mentioned replacing machinery parts. Um, for those who have not been to Cotton Inc.'s headquarters in Cary, North Carolina, I mean, it's like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. I mean, they have so many different rooms in there where they're running different tests, and there's, might be milling equipment in one room, and William, correct me if I'm off base here. In the next room, they're running, some sort of research. It looks like a scientific lab. And so, yeah, for being the guy that's having to learn all those machines and all the different things that are happening inside that building is probably pretty. You get a broad view of all the different aspects of cotton downstream and on the farm too.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is a chocolate factory here. A lot of interesting uh, equipment. We have the capabilities of carrying things from the bale of fiber into yarn, knitting and weaving fabrics, to dyeing and finishing, and coming up with a range of new technical innovations that can really advance cotton and take on synthetic fibers.
Yeah, yeah, I would encourage anybody who's listening who has not done a tour of Cotton Ink to go do that. It's pretty neat. Okay. Now I know that you mentioned this. You kind of touched on this a minute ago, William. My first question, but we're facing unique and difficult times as an industry, and you guys are not shying away from that. None of the cotton associations are shying away from acknowledging that. So I know there's a shifting landscape in cotton with the trade issues that are happening globally. There's challenges on the farm economy at home. How do you see Cotton Incorporated kind of adapting to this new world that we find ourselves in as we head into 2026?
Well, Beck, you're absolutely right. We're in a period of tremendous change, a lot of challenges out there. We've got global trade dynamics. We've got the farm economy, which is under incredible pressure. Competition from synthetic fibers is incredibly strong, and they're becoming more innovative and sophisticated. So in many ways, it's like, the ground's moving underneath our feet. But this is where Cotton Incorporated thrives. This is not new territory for us. This is why we were established, why we were founded. Is how can we help the industry through these tough times? And we're here as Cotton Incorporated, and here to build value for cotton. So ways that we're adapting comes down to really three things. I would say, focus, alignment, and impact. And we're doing all three of these things with tremendous urgency. At the moment, it's not a time for us to be, pivoting slowly. We've got to be leaning in. We have to be pushing and really firing on all cylinders. And first and foremost, as we look at kind of our strategy and what we're doing, everything connects back to really two of our highest priorities. And first is strengthening farm profitability, and the second of which is building demand throughout the supply chain. So, really focusing on farm economics and how are we sitting here driving demand. So, on the farm side, this is all about our focus on making cotton more resilient. How can we make production more efficient, add value there? This is, a big lift and a lot of resources that we invest in our ag research team. And they work with, partners across the cotton belt to deliver both near-term innovation and long-term innovation. We're looking to have a very straightforward goal of how can we, one, help producers with improve their yield. Uh, Billions of dollars a year are probably lost in, pests and insects and disease. So how do we help them protect their crops? Uh, where is it possible to reduce inputs? How input costs have been on the rise. They've kind of plateaued a little bit, but still inputs are at extremely high prices. So how can we help the producers as well? And just overall, how can we drive the overall value of cotton, not just from a lint perspective, not just from fiber, but also on the seed side of things? So we're investing, as I mentioned, significant amount of resources in that area right now. Some of the critical areas that matter the most are, like I said, improving resiliency from a weather perspective, drought and extreme weather incidents. How can we equip producers with pest management tools, precision agriculture and automation, even getting all the way back to the genetics and going back to the genetics of the um, seed and the fiber itself. How can we make improvements there? So all this directly, these initiatives really support farmer profitability and helps keep United States cotton competitive in a really challenging production environment. And as you kind of move downstream, as we look at the other side of the coin, demand is critical. And right now, there's a lot of cotton in the supply chain, and we really have to be focused on bolstering demand, both inside the supply chain and ultimately pulling it through to the consumer. So, if cotton's not selected early on in that design or sourcing stage by the brands and retailers, we're never going to get it on the store shelf. And really, this is kind of one of my key philosophies is if we're not getting cotton into products that make it to the store shelf, the consumers are not even there to, not able to actually execute and purchase on those. So where I've kind of pushed myself and pushed our team is how do we take ourselves to the next level? Cotton has always been viewed as the preferred fiber. And I think it's great to say that, cotton's preferred, that consumers prefer it, that the supply chain prefers it. But where we need to get the next level, where we need to get is cotton needs to be the fiber of choice. We need to have people out there choosing it, demanding it, both in the supply chain where fiber choice decisions are actually being made. And then also pulling that all the way through to the consumer and to the store shelves where they're seeking it out and they're looking at it. So really to support kind of this demand side of the coin, we're doubling down on a lot of things in regards to science, innovation, credibility. The industry is really moving toward decisions that are driven by data and science and transparency and compliance. So we're really needing to put more of our chips behind these areas. We're pushing hard on things like obviously microplastics, biodegradability, soil health, fiber performance. So need to make sure that story is really grounded in science and evidence. To make sure that we are there with the urgency that we need to make sure that the fiber is getting into the market.
Yeah, the stuff you're talking about, building demand. Yeah, I'm remembering years ago the Charged Cotton campaign and other initiatives from Cotton Incorporated to break into that athleisure wear market. I can't. It was like this was maybe 2012. You could correct me if I'm wrong. Nobody quote me on that. Um, but there was one of the brands, Under Armour, I think it was, came out with a campaign, and their slogan was "Cotton is the enemy." And Cotton Incorporated was on that immediately. I mean, just immediately, uh, not only combating that in a fighting way against Under Armour, but working with Under Armour to change their tune, change their decision makers at that brand's thinking on what cotton was and what cotton could do. And suddenly we came out with this Charged Cotton thing that would wick away sweat and we were doing really innovative stuff. This is like a classic example of the type of things that Cotton Incorporated does to get into that athleisure wear market. So I wonder, did we have metrics? Did we make inroads via that campaign? And do we have any big showy new initiatives like that coming out to help Cotton get on that retail shelf?
Absolutely, Beck. And I love this question because it actually happened around 2009 and 2010. And this is when I had actually just made the transition from the research side to the marketing side and was assuming roles with the technical marketing team. So this was actually one of the first projects that I worked on with a great team here at Cotton Incorporated. And you're right, cotton is the enemy was out there, and we saw that as a great challenge and great opportunity, and went directly after that, and met with Under Armour and said, look. We've got natural solutions in cotton. We've got technologies that we have developed at Cotton Incorporated that can grow your entire business, get you out of expanding from just polyester and nylon products, but getting you into natural fibers as well. So it really was a great door opener for getting more cotton into performance and athleisure wear. And, that work has not stopped since. I would say that the Under Armour program was really just the first domino. And we've had a lot of inroads since then, making a lot of uh, new product opportunities with a lot of different brands. And a lot of this is through innovation that we've built here inside at Cotton Incorporated. So today we do have specific initiatives, and it's what we call kind of our cotton in the market. And this is our focus and our efforts on getting more cotton products onto the store shelves, really through technologies. And these technologies that we've developed at Cotton Incorporated are things like moisture management, stretch, durability, water repellency, and technologies that we've innovated here at Cotton Incorporated that can compete directly against synthetic fibers. So it's an opportunity for us to then go out to manufacturers and ultimately brands and retailers and show the opportunities that are out there in cotton. And we combine research and product development and take this out to our mill partners. So we're working with mill partners around the world to take these innovations. We have a technical team that's dedicated to helping them commercialize them, so that if there are brands and retailers that want to order those products, we've got a great speed to market. We have great efficiency there that enable them to order them directly from the mills and get those concepts into real products and get them onto the store shelves. So charged cotton was one of our moisture wicking technologies, as you mentioned, and they ultimately built that a little bit farther to even include kind of their storm cotton, or charged cotton storm, which was a water repellency finish. I would say currently to date, our most popular technology that we've had hitting the store shelves has been tough cotton. And this is actually one of our oldest technologies, developed it back in, I think it was around 2010. And it's a durability finish, but it performs extremely well and helps us compete directly against synthetics. And we've had a lot of great adoptions across a wide range of brands. To date, we've had over 250 million units of this cotton product that have been launched at retail. And again, this is enhancing the durability of cotton so that we can compete against those synthetic fibers, and kind of giving us a competitive advantage, and also giving the brands and retailers a natural solution. So things that we're looking at currently, obviously the athleisure market continues to grow. We've been released kind of a flex cotton collection, or a cotton flex collection, which is actually cotton rich fabrics that have a lot of stretch and recovery, that are very suitable for leggings and shapewear. So this has given kind of some of the brands and retailers some new opportunities to look for natural solutions to some of those synthetic heavy stretch garments that they're putting out there. So we've engineered them perfectly to the end, and excited about some of the opportunities there. So cotton has the ability to compete. We just need to innovate and innovate well, and that's how we can create wins for cotton.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Tell me, William, our farmer audience, most of the folks listening to this are going to be cotton producers. What can they expect from Cotton Incorporated as we look ahead to 2026? Are there any major initiatives, I guess, that they should be on the lookout for?
Yeah, I think I still would tie back to two of the main things that we're focused on right now, Beck, and that's protecting profitability at the farm on the farm. This is fully recognize the challenges out there with the economics there, but also again the other side of that coin is bolstering demand. We have got to generate more demand in the marketplace. All the cotton that's in inventory, if we can start to pull that through, that can certainly help with prices and also help with just the general state of the industry. So on the farm side, the goal's simple: make sure that the growers feel the impact of the investments that they're making in this program with very much immediate and relevant solutions. So we're looking to help growers, dealing with their tighter margins. Obviously, again, unpredictable weather, the rise in input costs is so it's more complex. There are more and more factors that are going into how we help our producers in the industry. So in 2026, we'll be putting more emphasis behind tools and data and innovations that can help growers make better decisions. How are they able to manage risks better? How are they able to get more value out of really every acre of fiber and seed that they grow? On the demand side, this is all about accelerating cotton presence and fiber choice. The supply chain is really going to be our area of emphasis right now. We're expanding, kind of demand building activities. What does demand building actually mean? We're accelerating specifically our work with manufacturers, brands, and retailers. We need to make sure that they're choosing cotton early on in that process. They're decisions makers throughout, and we need to make sure that they're choosing cotton, from the design all the way through sourcing, to make sure that new cotton-rich innovations, like I was talking about with athleisure and activewear, that they're being pulled through, and we'll have a lot of momentum behind those. But it's important to note that the demand landscape is also changing. So we talk a lot about product and how cotton creates great products, how it can create performance and durable products. But right now, we have new expectations that have to be met, and a lot of these new expectations are really underneath this umbrella of what I call compliance. So there are all these new compliance expectations out there around traceability, sustainability, circularity. U.S. cotton has a great story in many of those, especially on traceability and sustainability. Circularity is a naturally inherent in cotton. We are a fiber that is grown from the earth and can be returned to the earth. So we have to be really focused on some of these compliance issues as well to make sure that we're not only bringing good products to the market, but we're also bringing the data, the solutions, the science to help make sure that brands and retailers are able to meet their compliance goals that they've set corporately. I'd say one of the key aspects of our strategy here is all around microplastics. This is kind of a golden opportunity for cotton, one that we've been communicating and researching for many, many years, but we need to continue to keep our foot on the pedal of this. As we talk about microplastics, mostly in the world, people kind of tie it back to, water bottles specifically, product packaging. They tie it back to latest thing that I've seen as kind of these plastic cutting boards, but we need to continue to elevate that apparel as part of this discussion because synthetic apparel fibrillates microplastics that get out into our water stream and ultimately end up in our water and in our food. So consumers or regular people consume microplastics. So we need to continue to show that cotton is that natural solution by linking it back to apparel. We've got a great natural solution in cotton. So we're going to continue to amplify this message through a lot of the research and also the marketing efforts that we have around there. So microplastics will be really something critical and a key initiative that we've been pulling through for many years, but we're going to continue to amplify that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say I would encourage you to continue shouting out from the rooftop. It feels like to me, as somebody who, is watches social media and watches the news and reads the news, that message is getting into the culture. I mean, there's a story in the Washington Post, story on the evening news about microplastics. So, yeah, we need to keep doing what we're doing because it's
That's
working.
right. And we've seen, this is only elevated through our consumer insights. It's only elevated in the importance to them around general pollution, about polluting water, food, and so on. So it is a great opportunity for us. And like I said, we've got a great history with it, a great foundation, and we're just going to kind of continue to build upon that. So, as we look forward, just to kind of round out, what growers can expect from us to, stay focused, stay assertive, and really fully committed to delivering value, across the spectrum there. We certainly here at Cotton Incorporated recognize the challenges out there in the industry. We recognize the urgency, and we in turn are also acting with urgency as well.
Very good. Last question for you, William, then I'll let you go. If I am a grower out there in the cotton belt, how can I keep up with what's going on at Cotton Inc?
Uh, First and foremost, Cotton Board Regional Communication Managers. They're out there uh, in the countryside. They serve as really the direct link for producers to Cotton Research and Promotion Program. They've got a wealth of information. We're constantly coordinating with them. So they do a great job of being out there. They also have a number of communication activities that happen through their Cotton Leader newsletter, and then also encourage everybody to join the monthly Cotton and Coffee Zoom, which I believe is the second Tuesday of every month. So a lot of those are Cotton Incorporated speakers that they can hear exactly what we're doing from the program side. But also, we deliver a lot of information, obviously, Cotton Incorporated directly through a lot of our corporate and social channels. So, follow us on X, follow us on Facebook. We've got Instagram, LinkedIn. Additionally, we just recently launched a new newsletter from our ag research team that provides a lot of timely and relevant topic updates that would relate directly to producers. And the producers can go to our Cotton Cultivated website and sign up there for direct updates through that newsletter.
Very cool. That's cottoncultivated.com. Is that accurate?
It would be cotton. Yep. Go into your Google search and type in Cotton Cultivated. That's right.
Okay. Very good. William, I appreciate you taking time out to talk with us today. You've clearly been busy for the past year, clearly been busy since I was at the table with you about a year and a half ago in Phoenix. And so we appreciate all the hard work y'all do over there, man, truly. And yeah, thanks for joining us today.
Well, Beth, thank you again. I appreciate the opportunity. And again, I certainly appreciate what Cotton Grower Team's doing there to get our message out there, and keeping the industry informed, keeping the industry connected. So really have enjoyed this, and I'll look forward to the next time.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, that's it for this episode of the Cotton Companion podcast. I want to say thank you again to William Kimbrell for sharing with us all those awesome things that Cotton Incorporated is doing to bring some relief to our nation's farmers. We want to say thank you as well to our sponsors for this episode, the American Cotton Shippers Association, and of course, Americot and Mr. Jared Small for spending some time with us today. And as always, we want to thank you, dear listener, for joining us and for your continued support. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode, and if you did like what you heard, please be sure and spread the word, evangelize on behalf of the Cotton Companion podcast. Here's where and how your farming friends and neighbors can find us.
You can find the Cotton Companion in 3 easy ways. First, go to cottongrower.com/companion, or simply click the podcast tab at the top of the homepage. Second, subscribe to our channel on iTunes or wherever you find your podcasts these days. And 3, sign up for our weekly e-newsletter, the Cotton Grower e-News, that's delivered to your email inbox every Tuesday morning. You can do that by going to cottongrower.com/subscribe. Also, be sure to follow Cotton Grower on social media. We are at Cotton Grower Mag on Twitter. And on Facebook, you'll find us by searching for Cotton Grower Magazine.
All right. The Cotton Companion podcast is produced by Tyler Hatch and Kim Henderson, our talented colleagues at the world headquarters for Meister Media Worldwide. That's in lovely Willoughby, Ohio. I am Beck Barnes, and I will be back with you in a few weeks with the next episode of the Cotton Companion podcast. Until then, kick those feet up. Take a break. You've earned it.
'Cause God made me a farmer. Yeah, he works and he works and he works and he works all day. God made a